Hey, Chris Lipe here with how to find your own voice, how to capitalize on the voice that you have and not get caught in the imitation game or the comparison game. Now, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I spend a lot of time studying other singers and experimenting with what they do and putting it in my own voice. This is one of the greatest ways to find your own voice, is by taking what someone else does and seeing what happens with your own voice. Another huge way to find your own voice is to let those influences that you have ooze out of you as you cover a song or work with material that is way outside your normal sphere of influence.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. I spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. If I just spread my wings. I can fly. I can fly. Nothing can keep me down. Nothing can keep me down. I believe I can fly.
Please like and subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on. And if you'd like more help going deeper with your own voice, and you'd like me to be your vocal coach, click the link below and join my free voice course. That's the best place to start. And then there's lots of ways that we can work together from there. All right, so we have these two camps. We have studying other singers, putting inspiration into our own voices and experimenting. And then we have going way out in left field and experimenting with material that we really have no business singing. And this is supposed to help me discover my own voice? Yes. Because these two approaches balance each other out in a huge way. We can't possibly use the same part of our brain or set of ways of thinking when we're covering an R. Kelly song as we are covering a Soundgarden song or working with something that we're normally really familiar with. And so we're forced to take inspirations from one area and apply them in an uncomfortable way in another area. Just doing this, just choosing something, okay, I got my influences, I got what I'm comfortable with, and I'm going to make myself uncomfortable in a different genre and go for it. It is amazing what happens with your voice because through the discipline of studying other singers and gathering inspiration from them, you have done something in your mind that you may not be fully aware of. You've created the ability to instantly assimilate. And as long as you're not comparing yourself to other singers, when you put yourself in that uncomfortable space, you're going to feel a bit more comfortable than you think you would. Because you've got your influences, you've got your inspirations, those become a security blanket or a comfort to you as you tread out into uncharted waters with your voice. Then what happens is all the ways that this track or this genre, if you've listened to the original song for any length of time, you leave the window or door open for these other influences to creep in and fuse with your comfortable influences. I can't stress how magical this feels when it happens. It's like you have found something you didn't even know you were looking for. You knew you were looking for your voice, but you found it in a way that you didn't really know was possible. I remember back when I was taking a lot of guitar lessons, one of my guitar teachers told me the best way to find your own style is by trying to learn licks from other guitar players and messing up. And then just kind of stopping. Don't try to copy exactly what they do, but in the mess ups, in the screw ups, you actually develop musically in a way that you wouldn't if you were trying too hard to do exactly what that guitar player was doing. I have definitely found that with my voice in studying my influences. But this idea of going to a genre that you're not familiar with and not comfortable with, in that context, you take these licks that you've already screwed up, and then you put them in a context where you're free to screw them up even more and see what happens. So here's your assignment if you choose to accept it. Make a list of your primary influences and how they have helped you develop your singing, or maybe even how you'd like them to help develop your singing. What aspects of your influences you really appreciate about their voices and what you'd like to see in your own voice. Then, in a separate column, list songs or artists that you maybe don't care for, you don't even think you could touch, that maybe you like, but is just so not you. Experience the magic. Experience what happens when your voice, the product of your influences, interprets this other song in a new and magical way. It's not going to sound like anybody else. It might still sound like some of your influences, but it's going to sound like uniquely you. Now, a big part of finding your own voice is overcoming the fear and judgment of yourself and of others. If you're so afraid of not sounding a certain way because you're stuck in the comparison or imitation game, that you are not free to experiment in ways like I'm suggesting here or in other ways, you will never find your own voice. In fact, you'll be too afraid to do anything that is unique because you're afraid of failing or not sounding good, or you're afraid of being judged. This is a problem, and it's not enough for me to just say, or for anybody to just say, well, stop being afraid. So I can offer you a better solution here. Go way more on the other end and make a fool out of yourself intentionally as you're experimenting with your voice, as you're experimenting with your influences, and as you're choosing to meld with another style. Put yourself out there and publicly declare in your extremes, in your going all the way crazy, that you don't care what other people think, and you are on a quest to create something unique, something your own. It is only by going through this process of going, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever and see what happens, that you will find your voice. If you are stuck in self-consciousness, nothing I'm suggesting here is going to work. I remember when I was in college and I had a songwriting class and I had voice lessons, and I lived in a very not private dorm situation, didn't even have my own bathroom. And people were hearing me do things that didn't sound quite right. I had to go around to all the people that were living on my floor and the floor above me and down below and say, look, this is what I'm doing. I am experimenting with singing. I am writing songs, and I'm doing some crazy stuff because I want to find out what my voice can really do. Yes, I actually did this. The dorm I stayed at was called Takeo Laredo Heights, and it was this old Gothic-looking building. But this time, when I got the courage to not only declare what I was doing and then go make a bunch of noises and really experiment with things that sounded horrible, was the time that I found my voice. It was the time that I was doing exactly what I'm talking about in this video, studying and pulling from my influences, working with material that was very uncomfortable for me, bringing them together with an attitude of, I just don't care. I'm going to see what happens. I hope this is helpful. I hope it's inspirational to you and encouraging. And I hope you try it. I hope you try all of these things. We'll see you for more.